You want to be able to trade if Gwen does take a pre-6 trade and tries to all in you.
So with this Ignite top lane, do you think maybe MFT is gonna switch up their style? Because like I don't think Tryndamere is supposed to group in this sort of a setup. Are they just gonna go all the way 1-3-1, or do you still expect them to kind of play their usual style of just running at you with the full team?
I think we first need to see the summoners truly to clarify. Okay, so
Oh,
he
okay, they
does go
swapped.
ahead swap over. It's a much better setup. If he actually stuck with the Ignite TP, would have brought out some questions. But Driver is going to be the one running with the Ghost Ignite here. So of course, you when you do go up against the Tryndamere in that top side or even in that mid lane, you want to take double combat summoners to be able to match. And most importantly, you want that Ghost in the event that, well, Tryndamere will end up popping Ghost on you. So you want that extra move speed to space against him. But with this setup, MFT have a lot of agency when it comes to fights, right? Because you have double Ghost, and if you're able to burn flashes on the flip side, you can always take a fight with Ghost up again before they have flash.
Yeah, so we see the setup from MFT coming up here. The triple dive, like you mentioned, kind of the bread and butter from MFT. On the flip side, J-Team does seem to be playing more of a usual defensive hyper carry style. That's the J-Team we know of old, and no surprises from Uniboy or Kongria this time around. We're going to have a opposite-sided start from the junglers, Kongria going towards the bot side, and Hecarim going towards the top side. Do wonder what you think about this top lane matchup, because I think that Ignite is pretty interesting on this Gwen here.
Yeah, Gwen, we've seen as the answer to Tryndamere in a lot of cases, and it does do well in the lane phase, but of course the issue is if you aren't able to capitalize and get a kill early on, the Tryndamere will naturally just really skyrocket past you very quickly, and it just comes down to a bit of a difference when it comes to your teamfight approach. It's about, well, which one of these champions is going to be able to assassinate the backline faster. And in this case for MFT, they don't have a whole lot of backline to really speak of. So yes, Gwen should be able to kill the Jhin 10 times out of 10. However, you're not wiping out double carries in the backline. Whereas on the flip side, MFT, they should be able to decimate this backline if they are able to get onto them.
I definitely feel like this is just an ultimate Jhin. Like, he's supposed to pop up from afar, slow people, and that's about it. He's not even supposed to be coming into contact with Driver at any point in these team fights. We do have a little bit of a scuffle here as Kongria, he already saw 665, does have the vision there, and is going to do a little bit of an invade. 665 does not spot this, so leaving a little bit of opening for the bottom side for some plays to happen. Meantime, Gwen is going to be starting with the triple Juju beads. This is a build that perhaps is seeing its last glory days, but we have to enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, this is of course 12-3, which means that the Rejuve beads have not been nerfed. That's why you do see that pickup coming in for Gwen. It means that, well, it should be really, really nice lane phase for him. Uniboy is not going to have enough damage to really harass him.
Not a lot of damage. I expected Lil V to actually go in a little bit harder on that one, but doesn't happen as Hecarim is around the corner here. And, like you were mentioning, just kind of feels like a laning kind of setup for for MFT on a lot of parts.
Yeah. And it makes sense why J-Team don't fully commit to that trade, knowing that their jungler is over on top side. But this could be a follow-up pick.
As we have the hook landing, flash in from Epoch. Enzo flashes in return. Extra summoner burned here as the exhaust does go down as well. But it will be a small win here from MFT, just controlling the bottom lane from J-Team. Also want to mention that J-Team do get the most of their damage still coming from Lil V, sitting at 28% damage share.
Yeah, Lil V has really stepped up to take the carry mantle for the side of J-Team, especially since Uniboy hasn't really performed that well in this first half of the round robin. Korea has had his moments, of course, especially when he gets his big hard carry champions, but we have seen a couple of times where he hasn't been able to pull that big damage load. So Lil V has naturally had to really compensate for the lack of damage coming in from both the mid and jungle roles.
Yeah, I feel like J-Team this season definitely has a much different setup from what they had in the previous splits, because they do have more of an early game focused jungler and mid laner. We talked about this in the pause, where basically J-Team Uniboy is such a different person when he gets the Zoe, when he gets the Syndra, compared to basically anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, for the side of J-Team, they're attempting to make a gank happen here, but it does get spotted out by the ward. And I mean, Whale, he understands how to really play a lot of these lanes because of the fact he knows he's not getting a whole lot of jungle attention in probably 90% of their games, because a 665 is looking to really snowball around himself, and whichever lane gives them the best opportunity to get those kills, that's usually where he's attacking, or he's looking to really attack this top lane for the Tryndamere. As a result, you know, you have bot lane priority, and you're just going to go ahead, turn towards this dragon, start stacking those dragons to perhaps force, of course, that third dragon fight, especially if you're able to secure that next one.
So far, J-Team already up to about a 600 gold lead just from the laning phase itself. And it looks like it's going to continue for quite a while. When do you think MFD is going to start trading blows here, as they're completely on the backside? 665 gets caught in the jungle. I don't think that's trading blows. I think that's falling deeper into the pit.
A kind donation coming out from 665 there. Not exactly the opening you'd like to see if you're an MFT fan, but for the side of J-Team, it's a welcomed charity. You'll take anything to try and speed up the scaling for this game, because of the fact, again, you do have a bit of an outscaling with the Orianna Jinx. So we will see the replay. Not sure how much of a replay this really is. It's just both solo laners coming in, and conveniently they have the pinch, and Konya is just like, oh, thanks.
I do want to mention that seemed like it was blind from J-Team, so perfect map awareness. Konya just took the Drake on the bottom side. They know that Hecarim is likely in their Krugs, so they do this perfect, pixel-perfect pincer right into the jungle and get 665 down. We do have MFD moving towards the Herald. This is a priority Herald, or I would like to call this kind of a compensation Herald, where the enemy team just found a win, and you're trying to sneak one away in the meantime. Doesn't look like they're going to get much contest here, as they do have double pink boards down. Very good vision control. And yes, it does look like J-Team is just going to hand this one over.
Yeah, they're really just there to play a lot faster than the side of J-Team. J-Team on a bit of a reset timer, so they go ahead, find themselves at that Herald faster. And I would say that you would very much welcome that dragon for Herald exchange in this time, especially with the composition MFT do have. Of course, it's about snowballing, getting that dive faster, online faster than J-Team, and getting Herald is certainly one way to do so. So the big thing now is to really keep track of this top lane, because now that Tryndamere has hit level 6, that's where the matchup does start shifting over to the side of the Tryndamere, being able to take these duels against the Gwen. Although Gwen does have the lethal tempo, so slightly better just straight up dueling potential, but not going to have that extra damage and build or healing coming in for these team fights.
Yeah, I feel like a little bit of a mess up from Uniboy. Didn't get his damage calculations quite down, but so far Driver has just been dominating in this lane. We'll see if Taco, with his utter disrespect for Hollowed Mist, can find a trade here. Poultry Shout down, isn't going to really chase much up onto it. I do want to mention the strategic goals for both sides in this mid game, because as you can see on the map, J Team has got that bottom side completely covered. They've made two incursions for a 4-man dive, and that bottom lane tower has already had a plate taken off of it. Who do you think is going to strike first? Is it just going to be a trade? As we do have 665 going into the tower. Uniboy getting a lot of damage off. Might just be a kill here, and that's a solo! Oh, that's a pony that lost its way.
Yeah, so back-to-back charity donations, you know? Hard to explain that one, but now we're gonna see a collapse onto mid lane, and they do have the
onto
inside
little
track.
V. They throw everything on him, but Enzo is right around there, or just cancels out the ultimate. Enzo doesn't even need to flash for that one. Uniboy another kill in the mid lane. Meanwhile, top lane, Driver has his eyes on Taco. He should be fine though. As you mentioned, does still have the ult, but it just seems like laning phase is starting to implode for MFT.
Yeah, I mean, that mid lane really just kind of falls apart here for the side of MFT because of the kind donations coming in from 665 over to that lane. Uniboy now very much accelerated. 3 kills to his name, has the Ludens, has of course the Sork shoes, and on the flip side, when like he was already struggling, and after the consequential 2 deaths, this lane is really hard to play. We're gonna see the replay here, and it really just comes down to when he wants to be able to get this entire wave, because it is pretty fat, but as a result he walks up too far. Konya just goes, we can just go ahead and kill him, and
doesn't even need the flash, to be honest, from Konya. Still gets it from some extra style points, and that was pretty insane because Konya killed him without shockwave from 60% HP. That's gotta be really painful for MFD. Do you still see a chance for them coming back in this laning phase, or it's just like, well, we gotta wait for late game, boys?
Yeah, this is definitely a very rough spot, because now you're starting to bleed out when it comes to turret plates. You can't even walk up to this tower because, again, there's a large stat differential with Sork, Shoes, Ludens already completed on this Orianna. Usually you don't think about those Orianna shockwaves hitting too hard, but that's usually because the Orianna is kind of sitting on even pace. But when she's so far accelerated, the resistances don't come in fast enough, so you're going to be able to blast these champions very early on.
It does seem like 665 actually accidentally dropped the Herald here. I really doubt that
Could
was
be timing
intentional. That's also possible. 665 doesn't get anything for that Herald drop, and they just have to back off.
It's just been a myriad of mistakes coming in for 665 just individually, right? It does look like
Konya finds 665. Nothing gonna happen out of that, but we do have a bot lane that's pretty much exposed at this point. I think it's just a question of how much J Team can take away at this point.
And this comes down to a lot of the stuff that they set up for before, right? They had a lot of control when it comes to vision down in that bot side, that now they can just repeatedly invade, get those red buffs, and now they're going to also get into Kali.
Wen does have to burn both procs of his ultimate, but does get out in the end. However, that means mid lane is wide open. We see question mark things from J Team. Is this for real? Do we get this for free? Is this for me? It's basically the meme of the gray cat looking down on the dinner table and just scrapping away whatever he can get. Very fed Uniboy at this point. 400 gold bounty on himself.
Yeah, and I mean, Wen did burn his teleport to get back into the lane, but at 14 minutes, you've already claimed really all the plates you could ever ask for the side of J Team, and they will be able to get first brick here for Lil V. He should be able to get that solo. Okay, does get split with the Tom Kench, which doesn't feel as good, but you're still very happy with that trade, being able to get that gold, very large gold infusion for your AD carry, and you're really just set up perfectly for this mid game. Not a whole lot needs to be done because Taco still not quite strong enough to be able to just dive into the backline and assassinate both of these targets. He really needs a lot more help, and if you look at 665's build's path here at the moment, he just doesn't have a whole lot of tools to kill this backline.
It does feel like Uniboy alone could probably get the kills as they get a perfect insect onto Epoch. 3-man ult's not going to save him. Whale trying to get a little bit of damage in. Red buff onto 665, and Kongra just pops the the crying emotes, probably for his enemies, and they move on towards the Herald as free as you like.
Yeah, 665 does get the blue buff, but that's really all they're able to get out of it. They're going to lose this Rift Herald, and now it's going to be getting excited. They might be able to find a kill on Whale.
That landed. Zap from Whale does go down. He is able to sidestep with the Gale Force, but not the Shockwave. Uniboy finds another kill. Now 4-0 and 0. Can 665 find a tick onto him? Not going to happen. Uniboy walks back with a ton of shields on him, and this game is just wide open at this point. When trying to scrap for some CS, Taco can't even walk into his own lane. Oh boy, MFT just welcome to the PCS.
Yeah, Corner is going to be able to might away, of course, that Gromp as well. So not even the scraps given over to Taco here. And I mean, once again, these are a lot of this is just consequences from the early 2 deaths given from 665 over to Uniboy. As a result, he's just so far accelerated. He finds that 2-man Shockwave right in that mid lane, and like normally you'd probably lack another 150 damage and you'd be able to survive by using your summoners, but with how far ahead Uniboy is, it just blasts him to high heaven. Now he gets even more gold. Now he has a large rod. Now he's going to be very, very close to that Shadow Flame, and once he has that for this next he's not going to have it for the next dragon fight, but he already has so much damage. It's perfectly set up to make for a very easy dragon take for the side of J-Team.
Early Shadow Flames are just so utterly ridiculous. You get extra magic pen based on the enemy HP, and it's usually pretty low to start off here, so I expect some pretty cool Uniboy one-shots coming up. That's definitely on the docket. Meanwhile, for Whale, that was definitely a solo queue moment. The first time you see the enemy mid laner and you realize, oh, he's been pretty fed this game.
Yeah. The first time you see the enemy team and he just uses his spells and you're instantly just deleted, you just say, man, this is the life of a AD carry.
Yeah, Kongra is able to steal away the majority of those Krogs, and Uniboy goes up to 6-0-0. Kongra still with the just using his flash afterwards, and Taco now coming in to hopefully pick something off. Went into the backline, exhaust goes down, but Kongra is still alive. Finally, he does die, but a lot expended just for that kill. Epoch is overextended, and Wen is left in that Shroud Donut. Is going to go into the center and hand over the 7th kill to Uniboy. Uniboy has been proven to be a lot better than just on 2 kills.
Yeah, given the power to carry on this Orianna and given the extra resources early on, he has indeed given full return value towards that investment. Now has that Shadow Flame completed, has the stopwatch as well, so as try as you might with this dive coming in for the side of MFT, it's not going to work, at least for this next fight. So hopefully they are at the very least able to force that stopwatch out in the next fight, but the fact of the matter is this game feels very, very long gone.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It seems done and dusted. We were talking about the win conditions where it was a dive comp from MFT. Well, guess what? The Uniboy can kind of one-shot people at this point, so the dive doesn't really work. We're getting some good shots of these mechanics here, as smooth as butter from Falcon.
And it's really just a lot of these, not even micro mistakes coming from 665. It's just where he's deciding to path on the map has just not been optimal, and he keeps on just conceding just 3 sacks of gold. So if you're decided J-Team, you'll happily accept donations And when you are, of course, a scaling team, it just feels even better when you do get those extra large sacks of gold.
Does look like Taco is going to be able to make it out of this one, but I do want to take this sort of lull in action. Never mind, no lull, as we do have 665 going in for Uniboy, going for the bounty. They have the ultimate pop bound, but Uniboy is completely fine, still has full HP. When going into the backline, dodges out on the shockwave, and they do find the kills. MFT making a comeback. Little V is down. Driver trying to come in, but he's going up against 1v3. Kongre will look for the kill, challenging Spike going down, and he does get Will on the back end. Still, a pretty impressive feat for MFT. Down 10,000 gold, they managed to get at least 2 back.
Finding 2 kills there, especially onto Lil V, is going to feel nice, of course. However, as it stands, Uniboy's bounty has not yet been claimed, so the big threat still remains, and even more importantly, if you look at his inventory, he still has that stopwatch available to him, so he didn't have to use that in the last fight. So it feels like while that they tried to make a play onto Uniboy, it doesn't pay off because of that Tahm Kench, beautiful Tahm Kench play to bail his mid laner out. And the big part here, when that Orianna is so far ahead, it makes things incredibly difficult to play out as the Tryndamere, because the moment you approach these fights, you have to preemptively use your ultimate because of how much damage is coming in from that shockwave combo.
True. We saw that double dive from the Tryndamere and Akali be able to basically blow up Lil V before even the blink of an eye, but the other target, Uniboy, was much more difficult to deal with there.
And Zanya's now completed.
Oh boy, that's just even worse. In that fight, I felt like MFT, if they were able to land that dredge line onto Enso before he made it over that cubby, it would have been so different. They most likely would have been able to find Uniboy there, but unfortunately, we have Epoch landing the hook onto a wall, and that kind of mistake didn't really do them any favors. J-Team now setting up for a 2-prong attack here, taking the Drake while still having vision control over the Baron.
Yeah, they certainly know that MFT are kind of in a desperate time situation and might go ahead and try the Baron, but of course, if you look at their composition, they have a very, very slow Baron take. Yes, the Tryndamere does do damage, but of course he has to be around that objective to actually get onto it, since he doesn't have the teleport, so it's very difficult to sneak the Baron away. If you are the Tryndamere, it's very easy to deduce if he's trying to attempt that objective. And then you also have your AD carry, which is your main source of damage onto an objective like Baron. Well, it's a Jhin, so Jhin does not do a whole lot to these large objectives. Certainly can help execute and finish it off with his first shot, but doesn't help you to get to that point.
Kongre is trying to find a kill onto Wen. The Q does miss just a little bit. They will start clearing out for this Baron. No teleport on Tryndamere. Taco still decides to show in the bottom lane. Let's see if we have some response here from J-Team. J-Team just very happily going to take over the top red side jungle, the top blue side jungle, excuse me, as they know that they do have the numbers advantage. Finally, MFT will funnel themselves back onto the top side, closing in on this Baron pit. The Scryer goes down, but J-Team just don't care. They're going to start it regardless. And now MFT have to make their approach. Everything comes down to this one. They're very far behind. Let's see if the Dragon Steal is possible. 665 not even in range to make it happen. J-Team on the turnaround. Driver going to start. 665 goes in, but almost instantly gets blown up. Uniboy has to pop the Zonias. Hopefully they can find a kill here, but no, he comes right out and simply kills Taco before the Undying Rage is even used. 665 to follow. Wen calls it full retreat. Will just left for dead, and now Wen has no backup. Only the support alive, and Epoch is going back to the base. J-Team do not lose a single member to the dive, and they're going to clean up this game.
You know, not really surprised about this outcome, Clement, because
Definitely
of
not.
just how that early game went. Again, like when you snowball this, you typically slower carry in the Orianna, you're going to run into a lot of issues. Like Taco, the burst damage coming out from the mage right now is just too much for him to expect that he can't even use the Undying range in a timely fashion.
He's gonna go down.
And the game's just done.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything to do. Whale tries to get a couple pot shots off, but Lil V is taking none of that, standing right in the front line. That's not what you want to see if you're trying to run Akali and Tryndamere, and their AD carry is leading the charge here. Wink gets attacked again by a Sonic Wave, and has to be very impressed by the accuracy that has been displayed. 665 trying to get something done on the back end. Uniboy hasn't even lost HP to that. Uniboy is just, he's completely fine taking a solo duel against 665. Another insect. Whale goes down, and that should be the finishing touches. Taco gets his Undying Rage this time, at least, but has to flash out. Needlework finds one charge, and Enzo, the support, the top bench, flashes forward to pick up the kill. They do lose Kongria in that, and Wen might be able to save this one. Lil V only on one more tick of damage, can't get it through. Epoch chooses to dive in. Last hurrah, the mad insignia comes out, and J-Team will polish this game up by 18,000 gold. A cruising and crushing victory